Well, it's kind of what we've been doing in a lot of our ball games. We have really good possessions defensively to start the game, and offensively we had some good ones that just run out. But then on the other end of the spectrum, we have really poor possessions, and for us to be a good team, we've got to eliminate a lot of these possessions on the side. 10 or 12 offense and defensive possessions I thought were really good. And then we have the same probably number on the other end of the spectrum. If we can clean these up and cut them down, then I think we have a chance to have a ball club. But we had a lot of offensive possessions, more turnovers and assists tonight, a lot of defensive mistakes. We get the game and we get 2 back-to-back threes, there to, so those kind of things, you just can't have a good team. So, and I told the guys that, I think we're on our way, but, we got to clean it up pretty quick. Arizona coming in here Thursday, because those bad possessions will bury us against them. They're a vet team. They've been through the wars, and Oregon State's a good team. Every time we, first half there, we had a pretty good lead, and as soon as we let down, they came back, and that's a well-coached, make simple plays team, and the rebounding until late was pretty tight, and I thought they played hard, and every time we'd get what I thought was a comfortable advantage, they'd hit a couple buckets, and we'd have a couple of those bad possessions.
Joseph said he texts the freshman every morning. How are you kind of seeing his leadership develop this season?
Well, I think he's trying. It's a full-time job to try to lead, and we've got to give him some help. But no, he's trying. He's trying to get his teammates ready to go. And it's a difficult job because it's the first conference game, and only 3 of our guys had played in a conference game. And so we had 6 of the 9 guys who played, never stepped on the floor in a conference game, and their eyes will really be wide Thursday night. So we got to keep making adjustments. We got to keep coming along. I think we will. But Joe did a great job. He was the difference in the game tonight. There's no doubt about it. Hitting big shots and really made good plays.
Lack of consistency seemed to be the theme after the Irvine game. What did you preach in practice about the guys getting more consistent and how they responded?
Well, we had a bad week of practice. We had everybody banged up. Joe was sick. Dylan was sick. Jaleel hadn't practiced. He tried a little bit yesterday, and then it was kind of a game time decision to see if he was going to go. Elgin didn't practice a couple days, so I was wanting to have a really hard week, because we played Monday and thought this would be a great opportunity to get a couple really hard days in, and they tricked me. They didn't want to do that. We kind of had one of those weeks where we tried to go over some special situations and do a lot more mental work, and I want to do a lot more physical work. So our next 2 weeks are going to really be important. We got school starting Monday, and so we won't have quite as much time, but we still got time. And so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we got to really get some work done and get ready for a really well-coached, really talented basketball team.
Did you get the idea to switch over to conference play, that your guys a little bit more important, a little bit more excited, or do you want that, or do you want them to kind of be even keel? You mentioned 6 guys going into conference play for the first time. Can you see that?
Well, I'm not worried about this bunch getting overexcited. They're pretty low key, So, I think that they'll get a little bit more excited as the conference season goes on, and they realize what we're up against. But they're kind of a low energy group, and so we got to kind of constantly bark at them a little bit to try to get that energy up. We miss Johnny, we really do. My voice is hoarse, and last year it had been Johnny's voice. He'd have been after him for me. So we miss him. CJ from the year before. We had some guys that really got that intensity going, So and it's a hard job. You know, don't get me wrong. It's a really hard job to get a team going every day. You know, but Johnny had a real knack for it, and so did EJ, Garrett. We've got some pretty good guys doing that.
Dana, you have Arizona next week. They're the Pac-12 favorite. After the first 2 or 3 teams, do you see the Pac-12 being pretty wide open?
You know, I don't really know. I watched last night, kind of for the first time, a lot of the teams. You know, I've been so focused on trying to get our team. You know, I just haven't had a chance to watch many of the teams play. So last night, you know, we had 3 of them on at 7 o'clock, 3 games, and you know, I was flicking back just to see some of them play. And you know, I don't know. You know, Utah's really been impressive. You know, Colorado's still got a lot of vets, and they're still really good at home, so they're going to be right there. Stanford's still got a lot of guys back from their Sweet 16 team. Cal, I thought, looked really good last night. Washington's been impressive. You know, so, you know, I don't know where we stack up. You know, we're going to find out here in the next couple of weeks, but to stack up the way I hope, you know, we got a lot of work to do and a lot of progress to make.
You mentioned that after watching the Rose Bowl that you really liked that intensity and that high speed that Oregon had on the football field, and you wanted to bring that over to the basketball court. Do you think that your team is able to do that tonight?
Well, we always have. I mean, I think we're still leading the league in scoring, you know. So, I mean, we've always tried to play pretty fast. We're not playing fast enough for the makeup of our team. You know, we're not real big, you know, and we've got to play faster. You know, I think we got some guys that can run, but you know, like I liked our first basket. They pressed us a little bit. We kicked it down. Joe's got a wide open 3. We take it. We had 3 guys going to boards. And, I mean, we looked like we knew what we were doing. And then we had a number of other possessions where we had a chance to push it, and he just didn't do it. So we've got to get a lot more disciplined in our break. And but I think we can learn a tremendous amount from our football team. Their emphasis on team, you know, their execution, the pace of play, you know, making plays for each other. You know, it's really special to watch, and you know, we can learn something from it.
You said going into Brooklyn, you weren't sure if your team was ready for that caliber of a team. Do you think you're better prepared now for a team like Arizona?
Well, we are. I mean, we're better prepared, but you know, I told the guys we've got to make more progress. You know, again, going back to those bad possessions. You know, good teams just don't have those bad possessions, and we can eliminate them. You know, we got to get more focused, mentally tougher, physically tougher. We can eliminate them, but we haven't, and so that's our challenge. You know, as coaches and them as players, and I'll show them on film the possessions I'm talking about, and you know, if we can start moving this direction with a lot of those possessions, then I think we can. But right now, we haven't. You know, we're through 14 games. I'd like to be a little further along.
Do you feel like Chandler gave you some decent minutes tonight? How much do you think he's going to be able to help you going forward this season?
He's got to get in shape. You know, he hadn't been able to practice all the time. You know, he's got to push himself. Jordan played so well. You know, I wasn't going to take Jordan off unless I had to tonight. He had a good ball game. But Michael can help us. I agree with you totally. But he's got a lot of work to do on his condition. And I think that's pretty obvious, you know, when you watch him play. And he can't. He's a good athlete. He's been out for a long time. You know, that knee's been bothering him since February. You know, and we got it fixed. And he still has never gone through a full practice. I mean, here it's January 3rd, and he has still not gone through a full practice. So pretty hard to get yourself in shape, you know, until you're able to go and push through a full practice.
Do you feel like you're close to finding a starting lineup that works for this team?
Oh, I don't know. You know, we'll keep messing with it. It's not that big a deal. I'm more concerned about who finishes the game and starts the game. Now the guys like it because they like to have the name, you know, and run out and jump around and be foolish. But you know, I don't care who starts. I care who finishes. You know, and that's what they ought to care about.
Going back to the makeup of your team, Joe and Elgin had 15 of you guys 23 field goals tonight. Is that something you address at all? Are you comfortable with them handling that sort of a conference game?
Well, you know, you'd hope that your experience, you know, in conference game pays off, you know, and I thought early in the game we didn't get Joe enough shots, and, but he found some openings in the second half against the zone.